It's 7:40. Let's do this. Good evening, Hampton Roads. Good evening, Northeast North Carolina. My name is David Aldrich, Chief Meteorologist of WTKR News 3 Television, and you're watching First Warning Live, where we focus on all things weather, and because we get hungry from time to time, we're sponsored by Marco's Pizza, who, by the way, generous enough to give away 22 pizzas away on this very live stream. We'll break it down for you. 12 of them will go to one individual. They get one per month. One topping free, and then we'll throw out 10 individual pizzas. They'll just go out the door coming up at the top of the hour at 8 o'clock. But I want to get to this, the big story. Obviously, it is the snow, the sleet, all of it, the latest on the rain, snow, and ice. Because if you're hoping for one type of precipitation, you're going to be disillusioned. You're going to be disappointed. Because some of you were sold a bill of goods this week, I don't know, going back as far back as Dr. King Day, and said, I heard, fill in the blank, I heard we're getting, fill in the blank. I won't even give that any credence, because some people really thought we were going to get buried in snow. And that's just not the case. It's not the case. In fact, if you want to really focus on weather, let's focus on the here and now. First things first, did you know we got to 60 degrees today? Whew. You mean you were buried on the computer, on your screen all day? You missed one of the best days of the week. That was today. And now it's all replaced with more clouds in some of that cases, bringing in some of that let me get back in my maps here. But basically what we're talking about is some light rain that's moving across the area. It's headed over the ocean. So give it another hour and a half, and I think we're going to be drying out quickly. It's been very light rain, but it's been rain all the same. So I'm just keeping an eye on that. Let me go back to my maps because I see that it kind of fell asleep on me, but I can put it back online here. And you can see as we go back into this map, there it is, the latest on the rain. Let's see if this will take full screen. I'm hoping it does. If not, then I'm in a world of hurt. But I'll do this. We'll go through this. The latest on the rain. So, and most of this light rain is going to exit. It actually has a trail all the way down toward Fayetteville, North Carolina, and just to the south of Atlanta. They're getting some rain at this time as well. So I'm going to go back and see if I can. We'll kind of merge this over. There it is. So now you can see most of that rain is down towards southern sections of Alabama, moving through central South Carolina, all associated with a cold front. This is not the storm, but if you really want to know where the storm is, go no further, travel no further than Montana. Leave it to me to give you context. You mean those flurries in Great Falls, Montana is the storm everyone's talking about? Yeah, that's it. That's it. And so for the last, I don't know, since Monday, everybody's been getting excited about a storm that hadn't even formed yet. This is the storm. But boy, is it going to grow. Models are pretty convincing of that, and it's all over the news now. Everyone's talking about the big storm. So how is it going to get from Great Falls, Montana to a neighborhood near you, you might be asking? Well, that's easy, because what's going to end up happening is it's going to dive down all the way to New Orleans, where they're going to get some heavy rain, and then it's going to work its way back up the rest of the country. So a lot going on there. Now, go back to the it's possible, right? I mentioned back on Dr. King Day, when you're 6 to 8 days out, it's fantasy, right? It's fantasy to expect over a foot and a half of snow, like some of you heard online. And I don't want to be the guy who has to put out that fire. I like forecasting weather. I don't like having to tell people, well, that's noise and that's nonsense and that's hype. But it was. But some people are, oh, yeah, I think you guys are wrong. Maybe I would have been wrong if I said we're not going to get any snow, but it's not going to be what you remember. And that's the key. No, we're not 6 to 8 days out anymore. We're not even 4 to 5 days out. What is today? Today is Thursday. So we got Friday, Saturday. We're 2 days away. Really, you have to have a plan by this point in time. And I'm going to show you my snow expectations here in just a few moments. But what to expect, usually by now, you really have to have concrete information. How do I need to prepare? How do I get my neighbors in line, make sure they have what they need, because the ultra cold weather is coming in on Saturday morning. Saturday morning, has someone told you we're going to be like -5 to 5 above for wind chills? Nobody told you that? That's a problem. That's a problem. And that's hours before anything precipitates from the sky. Wouldn't that have been something that somebody should have told you back 6 days out? No, we were all focused on snow, that 4-letter word. That's to your detriment. You're not getting all the information. That's why we do the Facebook. That's why we do First Warning Live, so that you're in the know. And I can tell you this, some people like to remember what happened. They have PTSD. They remember last February 19th, where Norfolk did get 10.2 inches of snow, the number 8 on the record daily snowfall list. That was almost a year ago, folks, because today is the 22nd of January. Next month will be a full year. Do you remember where you were? Now, sometimes, if you want to get real cutesy, you can say, well, what's 1 inch of rain give you? Well, it depends on the temperature. That's why I said it's the 3 T's: temperature, track, and timing. So if it's 32 degrees outside, you're probably going to get a 10-to-1 ratio. You get 10 inches of wet snow. But what if it's 25 degrees outside? That would typically yield 15, and so on. So the colder it gets, the more bang for your buck. You get more snow. But I tell you what, when it's 20 degrees, it's harder to make a snowman. It's harder to make a snowball because it's so dry. Very, very dry. But this is not going to be dry. This is going to be a very super soaker type of situation where you take your pick. You're going to get some rain, you're going to get some freezing rain, you're going to get some sleet, and you're going to get some snow. So I'm going to come up back here in a moment, but just want to remind you, our friends at Marco's doing a special favor for all of us. I love the Pizzoli, and that's why they call it my favorite item. Deal of the week, $5. Pepperoni and sausage, chicken, bacon ranch, and buffalo chicken. Promo code is WTKR David. That's our TV call letters. If you promo or put that promo code in the checkout box, you'll get a Pizzoli for $5. It's awesome. There's actually 6 locations that are participating in the contest, 3 in Virginia Beach, 2 in Chesapeake, 1 in Norfolk. And if you want to win free pizza, yeah, we're doing that today, but there's still time next week. Next Thursday, we'll give away some more winners if you don't win tonight. But I think if you get a $5 Pizzoli, you're a winner in that regard. Pizza for a Year certificate looks like this. And to win, all you have to do is go to our webpage, WTKR.com/Marco. So tonight's winner, his name will go up there, and that person will get a January through December large pizza, 1 topping for free every month. Every month. So there's 12 pizzas right there. That'll go out the door as in certificate form. But if you're not familiar with the Pizzoli, it's like a Stromboli or a calzone. It's delicious. Great little lunch item as well. And the Pepperoni Magnifico is another great pizza to consider. But to satisfy your appetite, we encourage you to go to our webpage, WTKR.com/Marcos. All right, talk about the mix. We'll just delay any further. Let me show you. This is what some of you were really wishing I would have published. I don't know, 2 days ago, a day ago. Just get on with it. Snow is such a small part of the pie. So if you have a pie that's roughly 1.5 inches to 2 inches in diameter, that's how much water is coming from the sky this weekend. It's just a sliver. And I've already shown you some snow ratios, but let me take this full screen. What you are likely to do, or somebody who's watching, will take the number that's posted in your neighborhood, 0.5 to 3, and what will they typically do? They'll take the highest number in the range and they'll put it in their pocket. Say, you said 3. You don't know this, but years ago when I worked in Knoxville, and this is probably funny for those Knoxvillians who haven't heard this story, I got a call from the viewer who was upset at me. And they said, you said, this was years ago, you said we were going to get 2 to 4 inches of snow. And I said, okay. He said, I only got 3. And I said, are you punking me? Are you just pulling my leg? He was serious. He was mad because I was calling for 2 to 4 and he only got 3. So if I say you're going to get 0.5 to 3, some of you are going to take the highest number in the range, put it in your pocket, and if you don't get 3, you're upset, right? It could be even less than 0.5. I said yesterday the trend of heavier snow is pushing northward, and I'll show that to you with some of the modeling. 6 to 8 in Richmond, I think that's reasonable to expect. How about 4 to 6 for the 4 to 6 for the Eastern Shore and the peninsulas? That is also a possibility. But please don't forget this part. That's the most important part. And if you can't see it with me standing over it, I'll take it full screen. Changing to ice. So if you got flurries, Albemarle, maybe you got a trace to 1 inch near the Virginia-North Carolina state line, trace to 1 inch, it's going to change to ice, which is icy pellets, aka sleet and freezing rain. That's the nightmare. That's the problem. Now, some of you are like, well, I'm just watching football. I don't really care. But there are people who are trying to get places on Sunday. Maybe they're trying to get to church, right? And the roads are going to be very, very slippery. But this is going to happen on Saturday evening, right? This is the first item up for bid, Price is Right fans. Price is Right fans. First item up for bid will be snow. And then it's going to work down the column. It's going to go to sleet, and it's going to go likely to all rain, and then it might end as freezing rain and sleet on the way out the door. That's how fluid this situation is. And I just want you to be prepared to it. Got a couple of notes here. Perez had a note from last night. A whole mess. Ha! Perez, I think it's more than that. I think it's more than just a whole mess. I think it's a cold mess, right? It's a cold mess. Other comments that might be coming in, I think, came in last night. Kim Thompson, being very kind. Kim Thompson Jones, thank you, Dave, for giving us your best case scenario for the weather. We're not done. If you look at just the snow map and then you go back to whatever you were doing, on your screen time, you're going to really, really miss out. Because this part, that's the story. The story is, look at the dam model. You don't even get 0.5 on the south side. You mean that could verify? Sure could. Sure could. That was run this morning. Actually, this afternoon. This is the afternoon run of the dam model. So if you were believing in 18 inches or 10 inches, 12 inches of snow, boy, are you going to be surprised. It's not that storm. Not here. Other parts of the country, absolutely, but not here. And this suggests only 3 inches in the eastern shore, 1.7 in the peninsulas. Not much in North Carolina. Now, the GFS model, which I believe has some problems with its temperature physics, I just do, shows 2.5 south side and 0.6 for the Albemarle, 3.5 peninsula, 4.5 eastern shore. And one more, European. European thinks we could get 3 inches on the front end and then switches back over to sleet. And a mess. It's going to be a mess. So how did I come up with that? Common sense. It's just not a big snow element. In fact, I'm going to go on record to say that what most people are going to walk away with, what most people are going to remember about this storm, is not the snow. It might be in the moment. Might be in the moment. By Saturday night, 10 o'clock, midnight, hey, it's snowing. But by 2 or 3 in the morning, when it changes back to sleet, it's not going back to snow. Are we clear? Once it changes, it's not going to go back to the snow that it started. It won't, because temperatures can be rising in those little 4 tubes that the warm air will have already moved into town. And that will be a game changer in terms of what you were able to walk away with. Now, this is all going to also wash what's going down the drain, because I told you the pie was about 1.5 inches to 2 inches, right? That's what we have to work with. This is the amount of water projected to fall from the sky. Now, some of that will be snow, some of that will be sleet, some of that will be rain. And I suspect by the GFS standard, that rain element was, I believe, 1.43. Are you kidding me? If you get 1.43, that's 1.5 inches practically of rain. It's going to wash any snow hopes that you had down the sewer. Just will. That's a lot of water. Now, the GFS is pretty consistent with Euro. Euro thinks it's about 1.5 inches. So maybe you have a little bit less falling from the sky, but a lot of rain will wash it down the drain. I've been saying that for several days now. You can go back and look at the previous Facebook Lives to illustrate my point. So that's how much rain. But now, ready? Here's the story. I waited till 7:52 to tell you the story. It's the ice. It's the ice. The European shows it still consistently showing up west of Norfolk. That's going to be the worst of it. And in some cases, it's 1/2 inch of sleet, aka ice pellets, a little bit of 1/2 inch of rain, and then it goes back to 1/2 inch of freezing rain in places like Newport News. Newport News could have 1/2 inch of sleet, followed by 1/2 inch of rain, followed by 1/2 inch of freezing rain. That, my friend, is the potpourri of precipitation. That's what we're getting, and it's all about the hours, right? Which hours? Like, they don't know what we're getting. Yeah, we do. Pretty good sense, but it depends on the neighborhood and the time of day, because it's changing. Always changing, because the temperatures are changing, not only at the surface, but at 1,000 feet up, 2,000 feet up, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 feet up. It keeps changing. So will this change again tomorrow? Maybe slightly. Maybe we pull this over. This is the European for the ice, the big story. GFS brings a little bit of the icing into Virginia Beach and Norfolk, right? It's not totally out of the picture, but that's the story. In my view, it's a headache. And if you get a lot of freezing rain, that's also going to put some stress on power lines and electricity. So we just have to follow the modeling right now. We're getting closer to the event. And I've already reviewed the snowfall timeline. That usually when you're within a day or two, it comes much more into focus. Let me check in with some new comments. I want to hear from you. This is your chance to, this is your time. I want to be here to answer any questions that you might have. Good time to check on your pets. We haven't even talked about the brutally cold air. That's coming too. Team Snow, I got Stephanie. She's hoping that she gets some good snow. Unfortunately, Stephanie, I like a good snowstorm. This ain't it, right? This might start as snow. It's kind of like, it's like a bait and switch. Yeah, bait and switch, where it advertises snow in the beginning, but then that's not what you end up taking home with. You don't get to walk home with a good snowing sled or sledding snow or even a good snowball. Maybe a good snowball. But you have to stay up late Saturday night to see it. All right, so let me get back to the model. This is the other big story, is the cold. We'll just remind you that we have a Saturday 1 o'clock start. This is not determined by me. This is from the friends in Wakefield. So I'm looking up on the corner here, Saturday at 1 to Monday at 1. That's 2 days, folks. 2 days. Now, if you're in Elizabeth City, you're not under that watch. but you are if you're in Ahoskie, Bertie, or Chowan County. So Edenton is, but Elizabeth City is not. Why would that be? It's probably because there's more rain down here, right? This is not going to reach their criteria for a winter storm, but a watch means that the warning's next, right? Watch as we're looking for it. Probably by this time tomorrow we'll be under a warning because we're getting closer to Saturday. But boy, is this the one that's going to grab your attention. If it hasn't, did you know they're expecting -5 to +5 on Saturday morning? What? I didn't hear this story. This is terrible. This is like off the chain nuts. Yeah, it's cold. I mean, imagine what you're throw an extra log on the fire because you're going to have frozen faces. I told Kurt Williams, I told him during the 5 o'clock news, I said he's going to want to grab some mittens. He might want to grab some mittens. There they are. Yeah, -5 to 5. So this would start at 8 o'clock Friday night to 10 a.m. Saturday. So this does include Elizabeth City. So even before it starts precipitating, before we get anything falling from the sky, we could have wind chills that are brutal, like 2, like -3, like 0. No way. I didn't get that memo. Well, you do now. I kept saying it was going to be windy. It was going to be windy. It's going to be cold and windy. This is the output. Right, -7 is projected on the eastern shore, -3 peninsula for Albemarle. Cold. That's 7 a.m. Does it get any better as the day wears on? I guess it does. As you can see by midday, it feels like 7. Ooh, that's an improvement from 2 to 7. And it hasn't even started the precipitation chain yet. Haven't even gotten there yet. The potpourri of precipitation hasn't even begun at noontime on Saturday. But boy, once you get into the afternoon, it feels like 9. You mean we went from 2 to 7 to 9? And no, isn't it amazing? See how people are like, they just assume too much 6 days out, that they've got this all figured out. You don't want your kids, I don't think you would. Would you want your kids sledding in single-digit wind chills? I don't think so. I don't think that. I wouldn't let my kids. I got 2 daughters. Now they're old enough to do their own thing. But I wouldn't want that. That makes it even more complicated. And it's going to make things even more challenging. Love to hear what you've got to say. We can put this back on the screen so I can check some of the comments. Some of them are still coming in, and this is a good chance for you as I get closer to 8 o'clock. We're about 4 minutes away from giving away pizza. Marilyn Bell has a great advisement. She says, check on your people, your neighborhood, and your pets. Absolutely, Marilyn. Great reminder. Thank you for that. Henry Williams wants to know about Williamsburg. Williamsburg, it may be Williamsburg, Yorktown, the Peninsula, Gloucester, Matthews, you guys might be ground zero for the ice. So it could be very, very nasty. I would suspect, Henry, you might be on track, and I'll go on record to say, I think you might get like a ½ inch of sleet, and then you get a ½ inch of rain, followed by a couple hours later, ½ inch of freezing rain. That's a mess, right? It's hard to digest, and we're going to show you that map here coming up in a moment, so bear with me. I'm going to show you what that looks like graphically, but I did say a couple of days ago, when you're tracking any winter storm, it's all about the 3 T's: temperature, track, and timing. I told you it would be very difficult 6 days out on Dr. King Day or the day after Dr. King Day, Tuesday or Wednesday. They have it all shored up and know for sure, oh, you just won't commit to 18 inches of snow. No, I'm not. I don't do that. That's not what we do here. I'm here to inform you, not mislead you. That's a disservice. And if you're clicking on people and people who post it, if they're not giving you a daily forecast, I'm talking about bloggers in the weather world that really have no ties to a forecast that comes out daily, then you're rolling the dice. You are rolling the dice whether or not that was accurate or whether or not it's timely or maybe it's from a different year. I've seen sometimes a forecast like, oh, that was from like 2012. It just shows up on a timeline from a memory. You've got to be careful what you're looking at. But I can tell you the temperature is going to start cold and then it's going to warm up at the mid-levels. That's why we're getting the changeover. Timing is still Saturday evening into Sunday. And the timing, I think, has not changed. The track is still doing a little thing. I think it's still trending. The snowfall amounts keep pushing further north. I showed you the NAM model. It showed, 0.2 inches of snow? You can't measure 2.2 inches of snow. Not with a ruler. Very, very difficult to do. And I think if you do get 0.2 inches of snow, you see it for a few minutes and then it's gone. It's not going to last much. So this is why the devil's in the details. Now let me show you what this looks like. Henry wanted to know about Williamsburg, right? This is 1 o'clock Saturday. The models still want to throw some precipitation out here. And it does look like it's snowing in the Outer Banks at 1 o'clock Saturday. You can't dismiss that entirely. It's been very consistent with some moisture off the coast, and it shows this thing doing this thing again next week, that we could have a blow up of snow and rain out here by Wednesday, Thursday of next week. I'll show you that graphically too if you stay with me, but it's just about 8 o'clock, so I'm going to go through this and then get to the pizza winners. But the rain, snow, and ice this weekend looks like this. At 4, looks okay for much of the 757. Then we go into 8 p.m., right? It's game on. It's dark. You said it would start snowing after dark. Yeah, there it is. There it is, right there. And then it continues to snow probably until about 10, and then to probably 3 in the morning. By 3, certainly by 3 o'clock, I think it's probably picked up speed by then, if I'm not mistaken. There's 11, and let's see if I can move it. There's midnight, still snowing, Aldrich. I know, I see that. And let me see if I can clear off my telestrator as I'm looking at more snow for the 7.5. Oh, now it's changing over. 3 o'clock in the morning, there's the inflection point. And as I said, once it changes over 2 or 3 in the morning, it's not going back to snow. Not in any significant way, maybe a flurry on the backside, but I can tell you 6 o'clock Sunday morning, now it's raining hard in Virginia Beach, right? Raining hard and icing hard here with the freezing rain and sleet. Messy mess. And where's the snow going? It's going to Delaware, South Jersey, and even there in Sussex County, Delaware, it's changing over to a mix. So this is like game's over for the winter part of it, I mean the snow part of it, certainly before sunrise on Sunday morning. That's 10:30. And we continue on this path at 4. It's still a very ugly situation in the center part of the Tar Heel State and the Commonwealth of Virginia. 8 o'clock Sunday night, and still getting freezing rain, perhaps in parts of the peninsula and into Williamsburg. So you've got a big mess ahead of you, Henry, if you're in Williamsburg. I believe we're going to have somebody up there, a reporter covering that. We'll be there. We're going to be here this weekend. We're not going to leave. This is like, hey, this forecast is just open-ended. We will be here. It's all hands on deck, so to speak. Not because if it's a dig-out situation, but if it's a power outage situation, people are going to need to have each other take care of each other. That's how it works, right? You want to make sure that everyone's cared. The pets are cared for. We heard from Marilyn Bell. But this is how it looked like at 1:30 Monday morning, and then it's pretty much gone on Monday. Monday, we're clearing skies, just bitter cold on Monday. Now, precipitation chances comes in late Saturday. Again, the single-digit wind chills are when you wake up Saturday morning. But the precipitation is probably going to hold off until after dark. And that's when all that's going to take place. And then we've got a sloppy day on Sunday for obvious reasons, and then we'll end 20% on Mondays early on as it clears out from west to east. Now, getting back to today, what a delight, right? We got to 45. That was our low at 2:27 a.m. Not as cold. I probably could remove, in this case, because it was left over from yesterday, we could lose the cold face. The frozen face is for when it's really cold. Wasn't that cold this morning. So we did hit 60, warmest day of the week. I was expecting 57. What was it, 60 in Hampton? Yeah, and it was 66 in Ahoskie. Wow, Edenton had a beautiful 64 today. But we hit 60 at 3:14 this afternoon, the record high 77 from 1937. Even at this hour, 8 o'clock, we're still running about 10 degrees above average. All right, time now for some pizza. I'm not done yet. I'll still have more on the weather. But it is time for me to announce our winners. Maybe your name is on there. Maybe it's a cousin of yours, a brother, a sister, an aunt, a neighbor. But we're going to start off with giving away free pizza for the first 2 winners in no particular order. Got one in Virginia Beach and one in Norfolk. Number 1 is Kathy Sue McNamara. Congratulations, Kathy Sue. You just won a large pizza with 1 topping, a singular pizza, but hey, it'll come to you in the mail via a certificate. Glad to have you, and glad that you're watching, and glad that you won. Christine DeHaven, you are also a winner. She's in Norfolk. Congratulations to Christine. We're not going to stop there in no particular order. In Portsmouth, we got Corey Goodnight. Corey Goodnight from Portsmouth has just won a free pizza, and Eleanor Turner from Virginia Beach, also a winner tonight. She's won a free large 1-topping Marco's Pizza. That'll be coming into mail in the next couple of days, and you can redeem it at any time you want at these 6 locations. I did mention that there are the contest locations. These are 3 in Virginia Beach, 2 in Chesapeake, and 1 in Norfolk. Got a couple more winners here. Let's see if I can carry on. Number 5 and 6, Janice Jones from Virginia Beach. Congratulations to you. You just won some free Marco's Pizza. Marco's Pizza is so confident that once you try them, that you're going to love them. You'll come back. They really want you to try their large pizza. Michelle Duvall in Virginia Beach is also a winner tonight. Congratulations to you. Number 7, number 8 are on the screen now. We got a Virginia Beach representation again, and Suffolk. First Suffolk winner tonight. We got Michelle Entler and Philip R. Bell, ST Suffolk. So congratulations to Philip, Michelle, Janice, Eleanor, Corey, Christine, and Kathy Sue. And last but not least of the single pies, going to Sean Lassiter of Virginia Beach. Congratulations. And Tom Vitale of Williamsburg. We had a comment from Henry in Williamsburg. Well, it looks like one of your neighbors, Henry, has just won some free pizza. His name is Thomas Vitale, and he lives in Williamsburg. Congratulations to you. Now it's time for what I like to do. I like to always do the, I like to do the honors of throwing a little bit of confetti. All right, the winner of this week's Free Marco's Pizza Big Winner of the Week goes to Bobby Ann Wood of Virginia Beach. Congratulations, Bobby Ann. You have just won not just one pizza, not just two pizzas, but 12 large pizzas with one topping each. You can try every topping under the sun when you got 12 coming your way, and a certificate will be mailed to you via the U.S. Post Office. We're glad to have you as a winner. You are the one of many winners who've won since last May, since we started doing this live stream, but you are going to be receiving this particular certificate in the mail. Please, please don't throw it away. It's not junk mail. This is free food you're going to be using, and you'll be able to use it in January before the end of the month, and then February and the rest of the month of rest of the year for 2026. Where you can receive one large, one topping pizza. You don't have to pay for it, but congratulations to all of our winners. Thank you so much. I'm going to get back to the weather here, but I'm very happy that we had some big winners again. So there's still time. There's still tomorrow. There's next week. We're going to be giving away free pizza next week, and you can get the $5 Pozzoli using the promo code WTKR. David, if you haven't tried it, it is delicious. It is, in fact, the first item I tried at Marco's, and hence I've been eating it off and on ever since, but it is my favorite item, the Pozzoli. Check it out. All right, back to the weather. Did I mention, and I want to look at your comments too, if you have some other notes. Kim Thompson-Jones, very nice to congratulate our winners. Hey, free pizza's free pizza. Like I said, we focus on all things weather, but we get hungry from time to time. I got a note from Carolyn. She's concerned about ice and rain in Moyock. Yeah, I think there's probably a good bet for that, a good argument for that. But the further west you go in North Carolina, Carolyn, I think it could get worse. So again, depending on your travel plans or your family's travel plans on Sunday, just know that it could be dicey at bridges and overpasses. Typically can ice up first and be problematic there. Taj Brown, got a note from him. Ice baby is the main concern either way. I would say so, right? I mean, there's going to come a point, and usually I've seen it happen in other events, where there's a large group of Team Snow people like, so I want snow. And then when some other community, one other neighborhood, gets pounded with ice, the people who have the ice, suddenly their voices dominate. They put the snow people, it's like, stop it. We're having loss of power. Like, I'm tired of the snow. Like, they'll get in a heated battle. And I just know sense of that, right? We're trying to take care of each other. That's what this is about, protecting lives and property. That's our Hippocratic oath. If you're a meteorologist, whether you work for the Weather Service or a TV station, your whole point of what you're doing is to protect lives and property. And that's what I'm trying to get you prepared for. Because if you don't have a plan, and you're going to wait till like, I need some paper towels, or I need some toiletries, or I need some groceries, just make sure you have what you need to get you through early next week, because it's cold even on Saturday morning in the single digits. That's my point. But it's not that now. No, it's about plus 11. Our current reading as of 8 o'clock is 53 in Norfolk. As I mentioned, we hit 60 today. That's a bonus, baby. 48 currently in Suffolk, 56 in Edenton, and 39 in Gloucester. Our friends in Williamsburg are currently at 53. Newport News and Hampton currently at 51. And we look at the wind chill. Why did I leave? It's just an old leftover from yesterday. We don't have a wind chill, but boy, we will this weekend. Boy, this weekend we will. Now, by morning, we may dip into the mid-30s. Suffolk 33, Hampton 34, and still about 43 for Duck, Nags Head, and about 43 for Corolla, but still mid-30s for Gatesville, Hertford, Moyock about 35, and in the same Melfa and Wachapreague about 30, 33 respectively. So tomorrow, we're going to find more clouds. Tomorrow's the last day to get all your stuff in order. I know I've said this before. I'll say it again. I don't expect anything significantly to fall from the sky. I say significant because there could be a flurry or flake on the Outer Banks in the Saturday morning time frame, but it's really after dark, Saturday night. That's when all this starts to unfold. But tomorrow's the last warm day to get prepared, because I don't know if you really want to be out and about when it feels like 2 degrees at 7 in the morning Saturday, to feels like 7 degrees at noon on Saturday, and feels like 9 degrees at 4 p.m. Saturday. That doesn't give you a big window on Saturday to get your stuff. So go ahead and do that tomorrow so you'll be ready, or even tomorrow night if you have to work all day and you have a chance to do that. I do expect light winds tomorrow, 3 to 8. That's a key because I think this is also another teachable moment. This is also the calm before the storm. Sun's up tomorrow at 7:13, to bed at 5:20. There might be some bright spots at midday, but really more clouds. And there's about a 20% chance of rain. That's going to be primarily in the Outer Banks tomorrow. We're getting a little bit of light rain at this moment, but at the Friday planner, don't be surprised if you see a little bit in the way of spotty rain. I can tell you this, the winds, you ready? The winds on Saturday and Sunday will be out of the northeast, check. 15 to 25, check. That's sustained. 30, 35, gusts. Say again, both Saturday and Sunday, same exact winds. They're going to be out of the northeast about 15 to 25. They're going to be gusting 30 to 35 all day. That's why the wind chills, when it's actually 21, Saturday morning feels like it's single digits. That's going to be brutal. Brutal cold is coming, and it's all going to be preceded before all the precipitation starts to unfold. All right, weather headlines. I do this backwards just because I wanted you to know what's going on. We're building clouds tonight, light rain possible. We've seen that today. Turns messy. That's an understatement. Turns messy this weekend with rain, snow, ice this weekend. Looking ahead to next week, very cold with sunshine continuing. The temperature trend takes us to only 30 on Saturday. I think we're going to bounce back up in the mid-40s, especially North Carolina on Sunday afternoon. That's why you're getting more of a cold rain. But even Monday and Tuesday, we're still in the 30s. The Arctic cold air, if you want to get a preview of what's going to be coming in the next, 3-4 weeks, about 30 days from now, it'll look no further than the sudden stratospheric warming event. This displacement that's often occurs naturally when you get a warming event, pushes that Arctic air down toward Canada and into the northern parts of the United States. It can also affect the 757. I can tell you this is what it looked like. This is what it looked like on the 20th, which was 2 days ago. This is what it looks like yesterday, and then this is what it looks like today. So to recap, I'm going to go back. This was 2 days ago. This was yesterday, and this is today. My only point is it looks like the signal is retreating a bit because it doesn't look like there's the warm air rises, cold air sinks idea. So you have some warm air aloft, and that's about 10, 11 miles up. It will likely push some of that cold air down into the New England. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to make it to North Carolina. So I think we're on track to see that winter may be starting to pull back a bit. Not in a big way, but maybe a subtle way as we head into the 22nd of February, because that's 30 days from now. This is today, the 22nd of January. I'm forward thinking here as I'm looking not at a forecast, but I'm looking at a temperature analysis that happened today. This is about 70 millibars. 70 millibars represents about 10 to 11 miles up in the sky. So when we look at the stratosphere is pretty big. It's about 6 to 31 miles up in the sky. That's a pretty big range. And the models don't look specifically at that layer, so it's interesting to see if we can expect a little bit of a pullback on winter heading down the road. We'll have to wait and see. I do think it's going to be very cold, though, by the time we hit Valentine's Day. I've already mentioned that from previous reports. Let me get back to my computer says, okay, I'm going to check out for just a few seconds. Now, if you've got a comment, this is a good time for me to look at the notes. Jacqueline is very complimentary of me very much. Thank you, Jacqueline Simmons. And so I'm going to give her kudos, 2 reasons. One is that she put her picture a close-up, right? I can see her beautiful face. So Jacqueline, great to see you. That's the picture that she supplies Facebook. If you leave me a comment, I have the ability to put you on the screen. She says, thank you for your service. Thank you. I'm not in the military, so I'm going to thank all my military watchers for your service. Appreciate everybody, and I want everybody to stay safe. Who is it? Let's see here. Kim Thompson, I think, was commenting on somebody. She says, my name is lost. It's been a long time since I entered. Oh, you're not lost. Taj Brown, I believe, won last week, Kim, so hang in there. They do shuffle it. I have no part of it. It comes and it is shuffled, randomized through our sales department, and they get all the names that you enter. If you want to suggest putting your name in again, I don't think that's going to change. Once you're in, so they may just have to shuffle the deck for next week. I hope you do win soon. All right, we're looking at that Arctic air. Here's another example of why this cold air is not going to go away next week. This is 27th, right? That is next Tuesday. Does it look cold to you? Based on the colors, you'd say, yeah, probably yes. And then let's carry it all the way down to Thursday. Thursday, the 29th, is going to be interesting for the reason that there are indications on the European model puts a big snow blob over here. So does it kind of kiss the coast? Do we get some streamers in here? We'll have to wait and see. I put stray flakes next week. Wednesday, Thursday, because that little dip in the contouring here, the upper air pattern, would suggest we have potential for some snow out in the middle of the ocean. But will it swing through the peninsula? We'll have to wait and see. Do I expect it to be a storm? No. But maybe some pesky flakes, that's possible. Then we moderate a little bit by Sunday, February 1st. It's really just tracking these pieces of energy. You can see them just spinning in, spinning out, across the Great Lakes, across New England, sometimes the 757. We're just going to watch the cold air down the road. Now, I can celebrate this as a win for my Team Spring fans. Some of you are like, I'm on Team Spring. If you are, then I hope you enjoyed today. Today we hit 60. That's 10 degrees higher than normal. Normal high is 50. But we were a far cry from the record high of 77 set back in 1937. It was the warmest day of the week. You can see that. You can see that 60, by far and away, the last warm day in the 60s was last Saturday. And then we know what happened the day after Saturday. It was miserable because we had all that rain. Some of you in Gloucester and Exmoor had some snow, but it was a miserable Sunday. I think we're going to make 2 Sundays in a row as ugly and gruesome. This Saturday is not going to compare anything to last Saturday because Saturday we had 64. This Saturday is just going to be bitterly cold, and it will begin to snow most likely after dark. Now, having multiple sources is important for multiple reasons, because if you lose power on your phone, the First Warning Weather app, you can have notifications anytime your battery has, your phone has charge. But if you have the NOAA Weather Radio, you can get some notifications even when things aren't working. So having multiple sources is a good idea. The average airport delays, as you can see, are 0, but we know that what we're going to see very soon, I mentioned it a moment ago, is this little blob of flurries is going to grow and to grow, and I'll show it to you on the radar. It's going to go all the way down here, and then it's going to really grow up in here, and then it's going to come up here, and then it's just going to settle up here. So all of this hasn't even happened yet, and yet people want definitive answers on a Dr. King Day. When I say give it time, there's still a lot of time to change, and the modeling changed, and the amounts that we are likely to see have certainly changed, no question about that. Let's see here. I may have lost one of my streams, but we'll see if we can get this through. Now, you can take a look at this. Today, that's the 22nd. Tell me when you think this storm's growing. It looks like it's growing here. Let's see here. Yep, looks like we've got a lot of snow in this part, and we got some mixing that's going on here. Now, this is the European model. We take it back, headed toward Norfolk, Virginia Beach, where it's snowing Saturday night, and the mixing's already into South Carolina. It's into northern Georgia. It's all across East Tennessee by the time we hit Saturday night. And so that's going to mute the East Tennessee snow totals in a big way, and it will mute ours once we do the changeover by Sunday morning, like about 2 or 3 a.m. So 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Sunday should see that changeover rapidly occur across much of North Carolina and 757. But that takes you through the rest of the event, and then it continues to show signs of rain on the coast and icing in the middle part of the state. And then there's the blow up on Thursday of next week. See what I mean? There's a lot of snow here. How close is that going to get? That's my question. Clearly, we've got a big dip in the jet stream, so it'll be interesting to see if some of those flakes make it on shore. That's why I left about a 10% chance of some flakes, but even still, southern systems are having a hard time next week. By the 1st of February, it goes into the Gulf and over Florida. Current temperature right now at 18. 53 degrees in Norfolk, 51 in Hampton, 51 in Newport News. You can see we've got temperatures right now, 46 in Franklin, 56 Edenton. It's 49 in Manio, Wanchese Island, and Roanoke Island in the upper 40s, low 50s for Moyock, and 50 in Yorktown. Current temperatures are 50 in Richmond, 27 Pittsburgh and Columbus, while it's 41 degrees in New York City. Just want to say hi to you. I got a question from, am I reading this right? AI Lynn Sober. So is it AI as an artificial intelligence, Lynn, Or are you really Lynn sober? I won't have to ask that because I won't be able to get to hear your voice. But I've already mentioned in my snow map, you'll have to catch the beginning of the stream. It's not going to last, but it is on my map that I showed earlier in the stream. You can see here temperature about 55 in Myrtle Beach. Single digit dew points right now would say it's very, very dry across much of the Ohio Valley. And it's also lending itself to chapstick and maybe some lotion for those very, very dry knuckles. Look at that. Is it negative 12 in Minneapolis? It is. Can you imagine? I mean, there's a big difference between 14 and Des Moines, and these are current temperatures. If you're a weather nerd like me, and you say, wait a minute, they're negative 12, but there's plus 14. That's nuts. Yeah, that's why I say sometimes that cold air gets modified, but it's all going to work against us in the sense that we're going to feel some of that chill come Saturday morning when it feels like 2 or 0 or negative 5 to plus 5. But you really want it cold, you can keep the Lynn Lake Airport temperatures to yourself. Fort Severn, all at negative 26, negative 24. That's for the birds, not me. I don't want to be up there. I don't think many of you do. That's just brutal, harsh, and again, that kind of environment is not what I hope to see anytime in winter, but that's what's lingering right now. Well, it's 60 right now in Tallahassee, and it's 62 in Houston, Texas. Will some of that cold air come down? Yes, it will. You can see the date at the top right, January 25th, 26th. There's going to be some opportunities for more cold air, but cold air does not mean a snowstorm. Cold air is typically dry, and it has to pair itself or get married to a good moisture source, and oftentimes that is from the Gulf, but we're not always going to see a perfect snowstorm. But I can tell you this, through the 1st of February, it would appear that we are ground zero for the cold. Below normal temperatures, I believe this is like 7 shades of purple, and it includes Florida. I mean, Florida's not exempt. If you thought I'm going to spend some time at Disney World, I'm going to get away from all that nonsense on the 28th of January, think again, because it's really, really cold. You want to go to California, they got better weather through the end of the month and the first day of February. Now, that was the 6 to 10. This is the 8 to 14 outlook. It's still below normal, and if I'm not mistaken, it's still ground zero is Hampton Roads and Northeast North Carolina. Still very cold going into February 5 through February 5th. It is now 8:21, time for the Eastern Shore, and we'll go wrap things up. 46 on Hancock, 46 for Chincoteague, 47 Bloxham and Saxes. Looking for a high temperature tomorrow, 45 in Cape Charles. I think you'll find a good blend of clouds and sunshine on Hancock, 46. More clouds for the Outer Banks, however, at 51. Manio, Nag's Head, Kill Devil Hills, Duck about 50, 52 for Odanthe, and 52 for Ocracoke and Hatteras. So the Storm Prediction Center maps, we'll kind of skip that. There's nothing to see on any of those maps. Here's where you probably, if you've stayed this long, I want to give you what you're looking for. This is the big event, right? We get some rain moving out tonight. By 11 o'clock, the clouds could be breaking. And then they come back first thing tomorrow morning, lots of cloud cover. Then we go into midday tomorrow. It's still mostly cloudy. Now, there's some breaks. I mean, that's not to say you could get some sun. There's maybe some thin spots over I-95 in Richmond, but that's pretty much the way it's going to look like at the start of the afternoon. Now, if we carry this a bit further, 4 o'clock, we are starting to see more signs of a few showers from Dare County back towards southern sections of Pasquotank, maybe back toward Edenton and Chowan County, just to name a few. But that also will pass, and that'll go away pretty quickly after, say, the afternoon. By 11 o'clock Friday, clouds break again, and we might even get some early sunshine. When? This is Saturday morning when it's brutally cold, and it looks like you got some streamers, right? Some ocean effect snow coming down from streamers. That's what the models are trying to smell out, and that's tough to kind of line that up. But it wouldn't surprise me if some along the coast felt like it was spitting snow first thing Saturday morning. Notice the winds though now. I said 15. If you recall, I said 15 to 25 out of the northeast. This is kind of like a favorably in northeast, right? Northeast, northeast. But 15, I think it's going to gust around 30 to 35 as a general rule both days. So this is a blustery wind. So if you have to pump gas and you're outside 5 o'clock, you're like, man, this is for the birds. And it will stay like that. But once it starts, once it gets to after dark, snow's moved in. Somebody are like, I like this view. Hey, Henry, it's snowing in Williamsburg at 8 o'clock on Saturday night. If this were to verify, this is our graph model, but this gives you a good handle on what's going to play out. Let's carry it further. 9 o'clock, the snow is intensifying. Man, it's coming down, but it's not really sticking yet. Maybe on the grassy surfaces and the cold car rooftops. But give it a few more hours. Now it's like, hey, now it's starting to stick, right? Now I think I have at least a ½ inch of snow, maybe on my way to 1 or 2, and now it's changed over. Boo! 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, it's changed over, right? It's changed over. And just because it's blue doesn't mean it's snow. It's going to take the temperature of the average temperature of the entire column. So this could also be sleet. That's what really will head fake you. But I can tell you the trend is by 3 o'clock Sunday morning, most of us are saying goodbye to the snow. Still snowing though in Williamsburg. Still snowing in Exmoor. But it's definitely a wintry mix through Virginia Beach and Norfolk, while it may be more rain in Back Bay at 4 o'clock Sunday morning. So this is, I think, an important moment to look at, because when people say, oh, they don't know what we're going to get, yeah, we do. Just tell me what hour you want to stop. You want to stop at 4? You got rain, you got a mix, you got snow. Pretty easy. Oh, 5 o'clock, you got rain, you got a mix, you got snow. It's pushing up. And that's what we're going to eventually have to work through. Now, when you get out the door, if you think you're getting out the door, you might have some heavy rain. So anything that fell in the night prior is down the drain, because that's heavy rain in Virginia Beach, extending just north of Elizabeth City, and now moving into the southern tip of the eastern shore and the peninsulas at 7 a.m. on Sunday. Where are you typically 7 o'clock Sunday morning? Some of you are like, I'm getting ready for church at 9 a.m., getting ready to church maybe at 10 or 11, whatever it is. A lot of what you had to experience might be okay, right? It might not be so bad, although some might just be maybe more reserved. Don't want to put their toe in the water and go out on the roads. I get that. But by 9 o'clock, it's just heavy rain in Exmoor and centered around Newport News. Rain is coming down. But it does show signs of continuing on like this at 11 a.m., still mixing in pink to the west over Richmond. And then by 1 o'clock Sunday, it looks like it's finally slowing down based on this model. But I can tell you this, it's going to be changeable. Every neighborhood is going to have a different solution. I showed you this before, all rolls in, 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, Saturday night, all snow. And by the time we hit about 2 or 3, it's changing over. And once it changes over, it's not going to go back to snow. It may just get more messy, more of a headache, and more aggravating. Might have some snow on the backside as you walk out the door. 1 o'clock, was that 1:30 Monday morning, and then it goes to all rain and it's out. Finally checks out, says, I'm over, and it's gone by Monday morning. South side tonight, though, 35 south side, 36 peninsulas, 38 North Carolina. Tonight's low is about 33 in Suffolk, 38 Virginia Beach, and 37 for Elizabeth City. I'm expecting 35 for Moyock, Norfolk, and 34 for Chesapeake tomorrow morning. By the time we hit the afternoon, more clouds, 46 peninsulas, could easily reach the low 50s for North Carolina, 49 south side. You can see more 50s populate Edenton, Windsor, Bertie County, Conway, 48, Hampton, Gloucester, about 45, York, Newport News, about 50, Yorktown, about 50, Matthews, 49, and Waverly at 52 degrees. Here's your first warning, WTKR News 3 7-day forecast. It got an 80% chance that you get some wet snow coming in. It may not even be wet, just some moderate snow after dark Saturday night. Limited amount of sunshine on Saturday, but we're going to scratch and claw to get to 30. Most of us are going to stay in the 20s. And then once we get into Sunday morning, temperatures are going to start to rise. The warm air will start to move into the mid-levels of the atmosphere, and it's going to change the precipitation from snow to a snow-icy rain mix. And it could be very dicey to walk on as well as drive on. Clearing skies, though, for Monday. Very, very cold Tuesday. And you can see those little isolated flakes here and here. I do think we'll have to wait and see what happens off the coast. But 15 is cold, 18 is cold. But how about a temperature around 2 for a wind chill? When it's actually 21 Saturday morning, it's going to feel like it's about 2 degrees on the wind chill, because those winds will be pretty harsh. Got a couple of great pictures. Forecaster Derek Gedrick captured some of these from our WTKR photographers group with an astronomy theme from Oregon Inlet. I believe this was a little bit of the hint of the Northern Lights from last year. Glenn, thank you for sharing that. This is from Heather Powers, the SpaceX launch that occurred in 2021. Captured this. Heather, thank you. These are maybe some older pictures, but that's why it's nice to know when they were posted, but that's a great picture to see. And Wendy Sprinkle capturing this of the Milky Way there in her Oregon Inlet photo. Thank you so much for sharing. I mentioned the rain. I don't want to leave that out. We've had a little bit of that tonight. Much of this is still on its way out. Most of it's trying to get out over the ocean. into the Atlantic, but give it another half hour or so, much of that will start to slow down, and some of it may not even have reached the ground, but the potential was still there. You can see there we've got temperatures tomorrow with some spotty rain possible, especially North Carolina at 49 degrees. If you haven't picked up a Pozzoli, here's a great chance to do it. Promo code WTKR David. Definitely you want to check out the pepperoni and sausage. That's my personal favorite. Make sure you pair it with some garlic sauce, ranch, or maybe even the Pizza Cup marinara sauce. It's excellent. Fantastic with one of the dipping sauces, but you might prefer chicken bacon ranch, buffalo chicken, or just plain pepperoni. They're all $5 for the remainder of this week, which will take you through Saturday. Of course, I don't know if you're going to want to be out on the roads beyond Saturday, given the fact it could be rather sloppy in a neighborhood near you. Next week, we'll be giving away another pizza for a year certificate. These are the 6 locations that will participate, and all you have to do, Kim Thompson Jones, make sure your name's in there. WTKR.com/Marcos if you'd like to win. Just a reminder, it doesn't matter, as I've mentioned before, and we'll be here through the weekend, so we'll guide you through this. It's not going to be the end of the world. It's certainly not going to be the foot and a half that some irresponsible people put online to scare everybody, because now, what are you left with? What are you left with? You're left with disappointment or maybe headache because there's more ice than there is snow. Anyway, we'll get you through it. Just remember, it doesn't matter if the weather is sunny or serious. Enjoy it. Make sure every day is a gift. Make sure you recognize that. Today was a gift. It was 60. Every day is a gift. Make the most of it in your neighborhood. We'll see you here next week, if not sooner. I might do something. I might be streaming this weekend. Stay tuned for that. Take care.